We are very excited today to welcome our distinguished Toastmasters. Before we get into them and I introduce them, I want to just give a quick introduction about Toastmasters in general, what it is, in case anybody here would like to know some quick facts. So Toastmasters International is a worldwide nonprofit educational system that empowers individuals to become more effective communicators and leaders. They're actually headquartered, I did not know this, they were headquartered in Inglewood, Colorado, and the membership is approximately 270,000 people, which is amazing, in more than 14,000 clubs in 148 countries all over the world. It's awesome. Toastmasters was founded in 1924, and it has helped people from all kinds of backgrounds, very diverse backgrounds, become more competent speakers, communicators, and leaders. Today, we are going to dive even deeper into the world of Toastmasters as we hear from 4 of our district's most seasoned and accomplished members. So please welcome Jean Reyes, Loren Lawson, Glenn Pellegrin, and Joel Dawson for our discussion, Toastmasters with the Masters. I thought that was cute. Okay, so before we get too deep into this, I want to have our panelists introduce themselves. So Glenn, let's start with you. Would you just quickly introduce yourself, how long you've been in Toastmasters?
Oh, I didn't.
Anything else you'd like to say?
Sure. My name is Glenn Pellegrin. My original home was Houma, Louisiana, but I've been here in Lafayette now for approximately a quarter of a century. So this is home now. I've been in Toastmasters, well, 2 times. First time was approximately 3 years, and it's been 5 years since 2019 that I've been in it this time. And it's been a tremendous experience, and I'm looking forward to learning a great deal tonight from all of you people as well.
Thank you, Glenn. Joel?
Joel is my name.
Sorry.
And believe it or not, I'm from Houma as well. I'm glad I didn't know Glenn when I was there. He's a lot older, but a fact that we found out just by talking to each other, my dad and Glenn used to work for the same company at the same time. So next month actually makes 14 years that I've been in Toastmasters, and it has been more than I ever could have imagined, good as well as bad, but I've grown so much from it, and I can't wait to share that with you. So that's it.
Thank you so much, Joel. That's awesome. I love Houma. We go there. We have some family there, so I love Houma. Jean, would you please introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you. I'd be delighted. I'm absolutely thrilled to be with y'all this evening. But it's a great experience. So I look forward to it. As far as the time that I've been a member, I kind of hate to bring that up because my longtime friends tell me that, Toastmasters was founded in the 1920s, and they tease me about I used to have coffee with Ralph Smedley, the founder of Toastmasters. So that kind of tells you how long I've been in, 55 years plus, and I've loved every minute of it, and I continue to learn every meeting. Thank you.
That's amazing. That's really awesome. Loren, would you please introduce yourself?
Okay, I kind of feel like I'm the runt of the litter here with all these distinguished guests. But I'm originally from Minnesota, but I've been here now in New Orleans as I was there. My big line here was I'm often grateful, amazed, and fulfilled when I can make someone laugh. So I've been Masters with the Elmwood Toastmaster Club for 13 years now, and I've taken on all the officer roles except for VPR. I don't know how I keep missing that one. And now I'm currently serving as Area 15 Director And I won't put in a plug for myself, but a thing went out today and a lot of people have said something and I appreciate the comments. Whether I deserve them or not, I don't know. And also I've competed in the speaking contests, mostly in the humorous speech contest, and I have had a blast in my 13 years of being a Toastmaster, but probably the most in the last couple of years.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Lauren. Even if you are the runt, you are not far behind. So, and I have seen some of your humorous speeches. I really enjoyed them. So we're going to go ahead and get right into this discussion. The first question I'm going to ask is, on a scale of 1 to 7, last year a study found that the average overall satisfaction of current Toastmasters members was a 5.6. So on a scale of 1 to 7, everybody said, yeah, pretty much I liked it at 5.6 level. My question is, do you agree with that number? And if so, what makes you agree with it? And if not, what do you feel like could be improved? And I'm going to start with Glenn with that question.
Thank you very much, Catherine. Appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak on that. The 5.6 sounds about right. And it sounds about right if you're thinking about the people, the normal person that goes to Toastmasters meetings. I think that there's a reason for that, however. And the reason for that, I believe, is because there's a lot of people that get into Toastmasters and don't really understand when we say that it is a self-development program, that it is truly, completely, entirely up to yourself to be able to improve yourself in Toastmasters. So I believe that there has to be a great number of people that I've witnessed over the 5 years that I've been in Toastmasters, that I find that people almost in a sense, and it's a terrible way to say it, but it's the only way I know how to say it. They take Toastmasters for granted. They're waiting, almost like today's society, they're waiting to be entertained rather than to do it themselves, so to speak. And I think it's unfortunate because those that really get into Toastmasters and understand that it is a learning program, it is an experiential program that will help you to better yourself in skills of communication and leadership. And those people that dedicate themselves to that craft, which is themselves, find that they're probably the ones that scored it a lot higher than 5.6. One of the things that I would like to see in the future is that they understand, they meaning the populace in Toastmasters, that no one is going to give it to you. No one is going to make you do anything. And I was very fortunate. I had mentors when I first started in Toastmasters that gave me instruction like RTB, read the book, read the book. And I can't imagine who that was, Joelle. I would never say who the name was. But the point of it is they're exactly right, because nobody is going to make you do anything. And so what do we do as lazy people? We don't do it, right? But if you will do a little bit of effort, I know that the 5.6 would certainly go up by a great number for a number of people. And it's my joy to see people in Toastmasters, and I've seen a great number of them who do a great deal in Toastmasters. I'm in awe of people who put on events. I've never really had to put on events. I've always had other people put on events and just attended them. In Toastmasters, I've learned to having to put on events. What does it take to actually do something? Even something as simple as just a regular meeting. It takes a lot of effort. But you know what? The joy that you get from the accomplishment of doing that event, whatever it is, supersedes any effort that you put out. And that, to me, if the people that are scoring it lower than 5.6 or an average of 5.6, if they would get that feeling and hold it in their heart, that 5.6 would turn it around and be a whole lot more than that. And thank you very much for that question.
Thank you, Glenn. I completely agree with all of that. And Joelle, since Glenn has already called you out, I'm just going to continue to pick on you. So Glenn mentioned that obviously to be successful in Toastmasters, you have to actually do it, right? You can't have this sense of entitlement. Nobody's going to give it to you. You have to improve yourself. Do you think that is part of the reason that there are less the younger generation is not as much represented in Toastmasters?
Okay, no. And I say that because I'm looking at this, or I see this from a different perspective. I get to see the opportunity to see it from a broader perspective. Last year, I was the region advisor for Toronto, Canada. So I was up there a lot. And this, 3 weeks ago, I was at the District 113 conference, which is in Mexico. So a lot of the things are totally different there. There's a lot of young people that are just really, really excited about it. So as I said, I'm only saying this because I see more of it than, let's just say your average person that just kind of goes to a club. They're really excited about it. They see the benefit in it. So it's a little different. There are places where people, if you did that exact same survey, they would probably say it's a 7+. Okay, but because the way you asked me the question, as far as kind of piggybacking off of what Glenn said, he's right. I don't think there's anything when you said that needs to be done as far as Toastmaster, they needs to be done. This is like a franchise. It's like a bicycle with training with it. How well do you know the actual material and where you want to go? So, and I guess I always, since he used me as a guinea pig, I will use him as a guinea pig. So when I first started mentoring, and by the way, he's going to be a brand new DTM in a matter of 27 days. Congratulations on that, Glenn. So I've been having to deal with that for 5 years. But when I first, I think the one thing that can fix all of this, and it's pretty simple, it goes back to the new member orientation. Okay. And what I mean by that, the people that come to Toastmasters, they kind of know what they want, but they don't. So it's really important that they understand what are they investing in. Which means that they have to basically articulate why are you here. And Glenn will tell you a lot of times when I go to, especially the very first meeting, I bring nothing with Toastmasters written on it. I don't, because I want them to basically tell me, why are you here? Tell me why are you here? Let's talk about that first. So, and that's the most important thing, is to establish some type of clarity as to what did I just invest in. Once they're clear on the reason that they're there, and when I say I always say this, if you ask a Toastmaster question inside of Toastmasters, you're going to get a Toastmasters answer. You get them outside and find out what it is in their real life that they want. Is it for the job? Is it for another organization? Why is it that you want to become a better leader? Why is it that you want to become a better speaker? For what? What for? Okay. So once you know that and they can articulate as to why they want to get better, then you can show them, and Glenn will tell you what I normally do. I'll plan out the entire path. Here's your curriculum, just like school when you go to university. You don't just look at, the classes that you got next week or whatever. No, you plan the entire thing out. So, and then using Glenn can tell you 3 or 4 years ago, what he was going to be taking then. Of course, we can always change it, and I do tell them, but the thing is, they have a path. And there's a couple of things that they have to understand. If they want to get better, you have to at some point take a district role. You have to at some point, take a club leadership role. This is part of the program. So all of those you're setting the expectation very, very early. But the thing that helps a lot is the clarity, because a lot of people are not accustomed to teaching themselves. I had a mentor that I was working with, because this person said that pathways was confusing. Okay, I have a high school education. This person has a master's degree. Okay, but this person, the way this person was always taught all of their lives is sitting in a formal setting where someone taught them, and going back to my first meeting with someone, if someone says that they want to become a better speaker, for example, I say, okay, great. You do know you're going to have to speak, right? And I look at them just like that, because I want them to have that, to know if you want to be a better speaker, you have to do it. You have to do it. The same thing if you want to become a better leader, you're going to have to take a club officer role, right? Now, do they have to do it now? No. Do they have to do it next week? No. Do they have to do it the week after that? No. But you got to know when you're going to start. So just laying that expectation out for them and just helping them along the way because having the skills to learn in a formal setting like a school versus having the skill and the discipline to teach yourself, that's two different things. And a lot of times people go off of the wayside if there's no good mentoring program and they're not accustomed or have the tools to teach themselves, and things can get frustrating for them. And as I said, if you look at the Toastmaster program, it's written in high school English. There's nothing confusing about it. But when you put yourself in a situation to take a role or just do something that you don't have the skills in, then it can become challenging. And most people will never say that. They will say, oh, it's Toastmasters or whatever. Okay, so that was my little bit, because trust me, I can go on, but I just wanted to add that to what Glenn was saying. But as I said before, that's not worldwide. That's not international. You know, you got certain pockets that may have challenges, and then you have some that are just blowing the doors off.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you're right. I'm sure you're right. It's like that in most organizations or most jobs, right? It's going to be very upbeat in one place and maybe need some help in another. That makes total sense.
Mhm.
So, Loren, Joelle was talking about how when you come to Toastmasters, you need to have an idea of why you're there. So, why did you join initially? And has that changed? Like, what makes you keep coming back? Has your reason changed over the last 13 years?
I thought you were going to give me a hard question, but that's really easy. I came to Toastmasters basically to get out of my comfort zone, and I have some problems with anxiety and all that kind of thing. And when I came to this meeting, I felt like I came home, and I just felt so comfortable. And when you say about another aspect of it is the mentors, Jeff Harris took me under his wing right away, and you can't have a better guy to lead you along. And I don't know how he does it, in such a friendly way and helpful way and everything. I remember the first time I looked at the thing that we used to do before Pathways, and I was all confused at writing down all my stuff and what I accomplished and everything. And Jeff sat down with me and went through the whole thing. And next thing, I came to the end and I was done and I had accomplished something. So that was really great to have that mentorship. And then now in the Pathways, I love structure, and so it helps me to have a set plan to go by. And so I love the Pathways program, and I think that we just need to more explain it to people maybe in a different way so that they're not scared of it, because I think that there's new people that are scared of it, and that if they just knew the benefits of it. And then when you say, what did I get out of it, what I expected? No, I got way more than I ever expected. And part of that was being in the leadership, and by going through the Pathways programs, I did things that I didn't expect I'd be doing. And that led me to taking officer roles in the club, and I loved it. I really had a great time at it. And like when I was a president, I really learned how to delegate, and I tried to do that on the job many times. And usually the only person that knew that you were the boss or you were supposed to manage things was the owner telling you, but the rest of the people didn't get the word. So in Toastmasters, I couldn't believe it. The VPE wanted to do everything I asked him to do, and I had a wonderful experience of being a president, and delegating wasn't a problem at all. And so those things led me into doing the area director this year, and I got to meet a whole lot of new people, and like most of the people on the screen here. And I feel that they've all been mentors to me, and I've learned from them, and so I say that I got way more out of it than what I ever expected, and I'm happy that I went to that first meeting.
Thank you, Loren. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I remember my first meeting, I was really nervous, but I kind of like you, I wanted to get out of my comfort zone. And honestly, I work at home and I live at home. So I just wanted to get out of the house for a little while. And I met Tina through a friend, and both she and Chick kind of took me under their wings, like Jeff did with you. And it was like I didn't want to disappoint them because they're such nice people too. So it's good when you can get, I don't know if I would have gone as far without a mentor like that. I've always been one of those people that when I learn best when somebody's telling me what to do. I don't mind going off and doing it, but it helps me to talk to somebody and actually be mentored. And I think that's what's one thing that's really great about the program is having a mentor. Jean, I want to ask you, because you have been in the program the longest. So I want to ask you kind of the same question I just asked Loren about why did you initially get into it, but also how have you seen the program evolve, like beyond legacy and pathways, just in general, how have you seen the program evolve over the past 55 years, I think you said?
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Catherine. Of course, I'm a native of New Orleans, so I am an official Houdat. And going through high school, I was your typical athlete that didn't know what books were for, was studied. I thought you would take them and throw them in the back of your car and that you'd learn through osmosis. Well, that didn't work. Make a long story short, I worked my way, like most of us during that time, to college. And I was fortunate after 9 years to graduate from LSU Baton Rouge. First time I went and applied for a job, I was amazed because I had acquired quite a bit of experience actually working on the riverfront. And I was hired right away, which really kind of surprised me. I went to work for New Orleans Public Service. Very fortunate, electric distribution department. But I was very fortunate because my immediate supervisor recognized right off the bat that I needed help communication-wise. Being a true native of New Orleans and a Houdat, I needed help. Thank goodness he recognized that and made me join Toastmasters. Like all of y'all, I was a nervous wreck. I couldn't believe I even showed up. But I have to say, it is undoubtedly the best thing I've ever joined, and I cannot say enough about it. I have witnessed personally over 55 plus years the power of Toastmasters. And I mean that sincerely. I've seen, just to give one example, a young lady that attended a meeting, and back then we would ask, are you willing to participate in table topics? She didn't want to, but we kind of pushed it a little bit. And when she got up to talk, she could hardly give us her name before it looked like she was going to get ill and sick. So we made her sit down. But that same young lady, less than 6 months later, after being in Toastmasters, I happened to catch her on the TV news one evening while she was actually leading a demonstration with a bullhorn about the United States' involvement in conflicts throughout the world. But the thing that caught me was this quiet, meek young lady was actually leading a demonstration and being recorded on TV. I've seen it happen so many times. I've seen people who could hardly, see people who stuttered become much better communicators. I've seen people who could not concentrate become excellent communicators. And of course, you realize that it's not just speaking. Of course, speaking is very important, but to be a good communicator takes much more than speaking, because you need that body language, you need that facial expressions, you need to be able to read and interpret personalities. There's so many things that come along with being a good communicator, and that's why Toastmasters is so valuable. The training makes us touch on all of that, which is absolutely fantastic. So I cannot say enough about the program. I'm so glad to see that we are recognizing the fact, and it's about young people. I see today young people just, I don't know what it is. Is this TV? Is it computers or what? But to me, they seem so much more intelligent than when I was a child. I was trying to learn my ABCs, and they actually on TV communicating like adults. That's wonderful. It's amazing. And that's where Toastmasters is going to come in even more so to help them become even better communicators. So I think we're on the right track. I think Toastmasters is going to be around for quite a while, hopefully forever. And I also feel that 5.6 out of a 7 scale, that's actually good in today's economy. Too many people have so many other problems, worried about communications, trying to make a living, pay the bills, do whatever. So the fact that we are at 5.6, I'm thrilled. But like all organizations, there's peaks and valleys, and Toastmasters is no different than any other one. So we just have to ride out the storm, and I know we will. So let's just keep on kicking, keep on punching, because it is undoubtedly the best organization for communications in the world. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. I actually joined Toastmasters because have had over the years several people say, you should become a public speaker. You have such a great story. And I like to talk, which anybody who knows me will tell you I like to talk, but I didn't really know how to speak, which is interesting because I wasn't afraid to speak, but when I listened to a couple of meetings, I was like, oh goodness, I really don't know what I'm doing. I really do need to learn this. And I did. And I mean, obviously I still am, but it was a great experience, and has been a great experience for me as well. Gene, the other thing you mentioned in your introduction actually is that there's never a point where you've stopped learning in Toastmasters, which is really impressive that for that amount of time you can continue to learn from the same program, any program. I mean, that's quite impressive. Let's see.
Yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Matter of fact, I've had quite a few. I remember at certain meetings when people were assigned to evaluate me, to say, oh, I can't evaluate Gene, right? My God, he's been in Toastmasters forever. I said, no, it doesn't work that way. Trust me. We learn from everyone. We all need help. That's why we're here. That's why we recognize it. Our ability to improve. And there's no better way to improve than this organization. So I am thrilled that we see that. We see that at every meeting. We see people just grow and develop. At the recent district conference, I have to tell you, I was just so proud to see the keynote speakers, both Tina Gilliard and Katie Rigsby, just do outstanding jobs. You know, along with who yourself, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing to see. I saw them when they first became. They were good speakers already, but now outstanding speakers. Outstanding. Capture your attention and won't let it go. That's wonderful.
Absolutely. I did not see Tina's speech, but I saw Katie's, and it was awesome. She definitely captured your attention. It was a really great speech. So Glenn, what is something you have learned from Toastmasters recently? Not in the very beginning. Recently, what's a lesson that you have learned?
Thank you very much, Catherine. I think the biggest thing that I've learned lately is I think that my education, like Joel had talked about, is you always want to be knowing exactly where you want to go in the program because it's you yourself doing the work. And I think for me, this happened whenever we went for the television ad for WGNO a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago. Who's counting? Anyway, when we went there, the gentleman had asked us, what is it about Toastmasters? Because he didn't know anything about Toastmasters. And so I thought about it for a moment, and it didn't take me but a moment. And it's exactly what I am striving to do more of in Toastmasters and what I've just learned lately. And that is learning to talk less, to say more. Because what I have found, people in Louisiana, we love to talk. But do we ever get to the point? Sometimes it takes a while. So instead of that, what I've learned over the years is to try to be able to make more of an impact. You can do it a couple of different ways. One of the ways, of course, is telling a story, a short story, to make it to people so they can identify with it. Another thing I think happens a great deal is to not say too much, but go straight to the heart. And some people I have found have a great gift in being able to do that. Instead of staying a tremendous amount, they do a couple of things. They ask questions or they go directly to it to be able to answer it and let everybody else talk. And to me, that's amazing because that's not how I talk and that's not how I write. Both of them are way long, and I was taught how to write at a long time ago, and my teacher must have thought everybody needed to learn how to write a whole lot because I write a whole lot to say very little. And sometimes I talk a whole lot to say very little, but I'm learning how to say more by talking less. And that is really, really, when I finally recognized that that was something I really wanted to do, it has become a passion now to do so. Am I succeeding in it now? Not always, no. But when I do it, it really feels good. It really does. And that's the one thing about Toastmasters that I've learned lately is as you go along on this journey, there will be some times where you have aha moments and you go, wow, I didn't even know this a year ago. I didn't know this 2 years ago. I didn't know this 5 years ago. Now it's become part of me. That's the experiential part of Toastmasters that I think people really don't understand unless I know it sounds a little crazy, but that's how you experience it. And that's really important that you remember that this is experiential learning from day one. Thank you very much for that question.
I agree with that. I have the same problem you have about too many words, both spoken and written. If you were at the district conference and you heard my speech about mentorship, one of my mentors' names was Ellen, and always she'd read my papers for school or whatever, and she'd say, "You have to be pithy." And I'm like, what does that even mean? I don't know. I'm sorry, my dogs are getting in on this meeting too. Loren, could you give us a quick lesson you learned recently? Anything off the top of your head?
A lesson I learned recently. I think I have a better answer, and what Glenn was talking about and what you had said brought it to my mind in the things that you're always saying about talking. I thought that that's what communication was me talking, and I was afraid to talk. And then when I'd talk, I would just be talking about me and what I knew and what was going on, whatever in my life. I didn't even realize till actually the door opened for me in Dale Carnegie before Toastmasters. But once that door was open, Toastmasters brought me more into the picture of actually using the communication skills. and realizing that it's more about asking questions and hearing what the other person has to say and the give and take. And that was like a light bulb moment when I learned that that was really the way that you communicate, and that it isn't just me talking, it's the other person and the give and take. And when I learned that, it it just I just think it made a huge impact on my life, and I think it put me where I am here today, and being able to do some of the things that I've done, and that learning that fact that other people should be doing the talking, and like Glenn says, me doing less talking. That's what I learned over the time.
I completely agree. And when you look at the world and what's going on in the world right now, if I feel like if more people learned that lesson, the world might be a little bit better, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've also learned that for me, I have employees. And so for me, Toastmasters has actually really helped me communicate with my employees and listen to what they're saying versus, what I'm saying, and make job more fair, and, all of that stuff. So it's certainly helped me outside of Toastmasters. Joelle, do you agree with that? We're going to wrap up with you. So give us your best thoughts.
Absolutely. And if there, when I first came here, my first mentor that I had, the one that stopped me from quitting Toastmasters, was a gentleman by the name of Richard Wolf. Okay. And if he was on this call right now, he can tell you what I have done in Toastmasters. I mean, what I've done in my private life, I learned in Toastmasters. I came here because I wanted to be a professional speaker. I wasn't afraid of speaking, but I wanted to get really, really good. So I spoke twice a week in a Toastmaster club, and then I would speak out in town somewhere like a Rotary or Kiwanis or something like that. Anywhere in South Louisiana, New Orleans, I would go. But I made sure that I spoke 3 times a week. And the person that got me involved in Toastmaster, or the one that answered the phone when I called, was a lady in New Orleans by the name of Tina Thomas. And at that time, Tina Thomas was already a professional speaker. So just like I said earlier, she had already set that expectation for me. She said, if you really want to be a professional speaker, don't play with just thing. Get your DTM in 2 years. I got my DTM in 18 months. Okay, but I understood that I had to get really, really good. And once I got really, really good, I took that same skill set and I went out in the public sector and became a professional speaker. They normally say that to become an NSA, they will tell you to become what's called a platform speaker. That person, you've made it. You have reached the pinnacle, is about $10,000 plus. And it takes about 5 to 7 years to get there. I did it in 2 years, and I was making more than that. I didn't join NSA. I learned everything in Toastmasters. And then I started feeling a shift, because I'm an entrepreneur, that there was a need for something else, coaching and training. So what did I do? I took over the new member orientation. I said, I'm a mentor everybody. Just send them to me. Why? Because I wanted to get good at coaching. That's why I did it. Okay. And that worked really, really well. And then I got involved in the startup industry, where I was, if you've ever seen that show Shark Tank, I used to teach entrepreneurs how to pitch their ideas to investors. Okay. So I had these group of, 3, 4, 5 people that knew nothing about leadership. They knew nothing about business, how to structure a business. And some of them needed to be taught that. So what did I do then? I started coaching clubs. I'll coach him. I'll coach him. I'll coach him. Wow, man, Joel is really motivated. He's really excited. No, I was learning how to coach in groups, how to train in groups. I did that. I took that out in the public sector and made money like that as well. So if you just stay in Toast, and I think one of the challenges people, I don't say if it's a challenge, but something that I've observed, they keep all of their skills in Toastmasters. They don't bring them to the outside world, not full-fledged. They may try a couple of little things. No, I went full-fledged, and I found out something really, really early. When you're a professional speaker, guess what? They don't have to clap for you if you're not good. They don't have to be supportive of you. They don't have to laugh at your jokes. If they laugh at your jokes in public, that means you really are funny. So I always kept a different perspective, through everything I did in Toastmasters because I wanted to succeed in the real world. So that's when I went back to my club the following week after they didn't laugh at what I thought was funny. And I really had to learn speech structure. I had to learn how to write a joke. So I practiced every single week because I wanted to be good. Of course, they loved me in Toastmasters, but Toastmasters wasn't paying me. The people outside, I wanted to make them laugh because they were the ones that paid me. And I used Toastmasters as a platform, as a practice field in every step of the way, every single thing I've done. Now, as I moved up, I learned how to be strategic. And I'll end with this. I called the bank about 3 months ago to get a loan to buy a business in Florida that I know nothing about. And I wrote them a strategy from what I learned in Toastmasters, how to structure a business, how to write a strategic plan. I sent it to that banker and they gave me a loan that's going to be approved in Thursday to buy a business in Florida for which I know nothing about and guaranteed that I can run their business from Louisiana better than the guy in Florida that's been doing it for 30 years.
That's impressive.
But here's the thing. I didn't get there just by taking the roles, when Mr. Gene talked about a lifelong learner, so am I. It's a process. And I'm gonna tell you what I found out, and I didn't find this out until I became a region advisor. Most people that, let's say a region advisor, international director, vice presidents, even a president, did you know they still have mentors? I didn't know that. I was on the phone with someone who had called me to ask me some questions about, because they were campaigning for a second vice president. And she said, "Oh, I forgot. I got a phone call my mentor. I got to go." And I'm like, "You got a mentor?" And then Matt Kinsey, who's a past president, he's a personal friend of mine. He's got a mentor, the president. I have a mentor now because I didn't want to be left out. But I realized that it's a learning, it's the process that people, that I don't want to say fall in love, but that's probably a good word for it, the just making yourself better. And at the beginning, I said, the good and bad. It was because I'm gonna tell you something. A lot of times, it's not nice to realize that a lot of the problems that you had in your life was your own fault, and then you learn that. So you gotta swallow that and say, "But I'm going to get better." So it's that process, or the journey, as Glenn called it, just falling in love with that, just knowing that every single day that I'm in an organization that actually has a platform where I can practice to get better. It's not like Dale Carnegie, it's not like John Maxwell, not like Tony Robinson, where they just give you the education and the certificate. If you ask most of them after that, can you actually use it? They probably can't. But Toastmaster has a platform, though, you can make mistake until you get it right. Or as they say in Pathways, until you can demonstrate expertise. Because, I remember when I first joined Toastmasters, man, we had some falling outs in our club. And I grabbed that conflict resolution manual, and I read that manual. I said, okay, I'm ready to go. If they try that next week, I'm ready to go. So I read that book again. Okay, guess what? It started out in the parking lot. And I went out there to solve that conflict. And it went out there from 2 people wanting to fight to 3. That's how bad I was. But I had to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it until I got good at it. And when you start getting success like that, there's going to be easy ones and there's going to be hard ones. And a lot of times people in Toastmasters, they understand there's certain things that's them. They don't want to face them. Oh, I don't have time, or, whatever. No, because personal change hurts. When you realize there's certain things about you, you've been sticking your own foot in your mouth, or you've been calling a lot. That's a tough pill to swallow. It is. If you don't have a mentor, and if you don't use this organization as a group, as a nucleus of being empowered of people that can actually help you, you'll back out because you feel like you're doing it alone. Because you got to remember this. Your greatest competitor, because I was just having this conversation, especially when I was competing, your greatest competitor is never another competitor. Your greatest competitor is yourself. You're going to always, that's Mr. Gene, he can tell you, you're going to always beat yourself up more than anybody else because you're the one that you can't block on Facebook. You cannot ignore those calls, can you? that person inside of you has known your fear since you were born. And it's only through repetition and being in an empowered organization that'll help you beat that. That's why Toastmasters is one of the best organizations, if not the best on the planet, bar none. Thank you. Thank you for that question.
Thank you, Joel, and thank you to all of our panelists. I had some thoughts to say, but I feel like Joel just summed them up so well in that last speech. So I just want to say thank you for everybody for coming. I really appreciate it. I agree. Like I said, I joined Toastmasters just to get out of the house. And because somebody said, yeah, you might be good at public speaking. And yeah, if you get good at it, you could make some money. So I said, oh, okay. And so that's what I did. And here we are today, and I'm leading this panel, and I have never led a panel before. So that was a lot of fun. Thank you to the panelists. We do have elections, which we're actually not going to run because we don't have enough people here to do them. But that's okay. We're going to push those to next week. But we need to do the evaluation. So let's see. Cammie, do you want to run the round robin and just call on people?
Yeah, I could start.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm going to have to make a hard stop at 7 because I got another meeting to
No
hop
problem.
into.
So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
Well, that's come first.
I'll be real fast. Great panel discussion. I like to hear everyone's experience from the past, especially these experienced Toastmasters around in the DTMs. And Loren's on his way for his DTM, so he will be there too. I'm technically not working on mine, but I'm on that path apparently. I just end up getting on that path by accident. But so I'll end up having my DTM by accident. Anyway, but it was a great discussion. I enjoyed it. John, your turn.
wait, let's go to Joel first since he's got a sign
Yeah.
off.
Okay.
That's okay.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Go ahead, Joel.
What?
Just could you give us a couple words about?
It's my turn.
It's your
Okay,
turn.
yeah.
Yes.
So what I would say is when it comes to things like this, whether you call it a panel discussion or whatever you want to call it, I think we need more of these. Because, well, first of all, like Mr. Jean, I hadn't seen Mr. Jean in I don't know how long. Catherine's my first time meeting you, but I think the power in having something like this, because I see it in other districts when I go there, is that empowerment. I got empowered at a conference. Okay, I had already quit. I went to the conference. I competed my very first time. I got the trophy in my hand, and I'm already telling, no, I'm done. I'm done. I quit. But it was one little thing that happened at that conference that allowed me to be here today. So the more we get together like this is always good. So if you had another one like next week or whatever, I'd probably be on it. Because it only takes a small gathering like this to empower somebody to make it click, just like that. Every time somebody walks into your club, you have no idea if they're going to be the next, district director. They could be a world champion of public speaking. They could be a president because they come from somewhere, right? They come from somewhere. And putting people together I love this. I love the panelists. I love seeing all of the beautiful faces here, even though they're like really, really small and I don't have my glasses on. But I absolutely love it. Thank you so much for inviting me. If you have anything else I can help any of you with, just shoot me a message and let me know. Okay, I gotta go.
Thank you, Joel. We appreciate
Okay.
you.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Adios, amigo.
All right.
Okay. We want to go to John next.
Yes.
I'll be glad to.
John, sorry. Yep.
I would say that my enthusiasm for Toastmasters and my morale about it is about a 7.5. This has been one of the most enthusiasm driving events I've been to in a long time. I mean, Loren, for instance, of Selma has been an area director and reminded me that the most important thing is the audience, the other half of the conversation. And that makes you grow so much. And Jean who has shown 55 years of commitment, involvement, and enjoyment. What does that say? 55 years that you can enjoy something. It must be so wonderful. And you know, as an LSU grad, he's got to be able to say, I love this. Glenn, you're speaking about talking less and saying more is again another part of the reminder to let other people be your inspiration, to inspire them. And that is so wonderful. I would like to say, Glenn, that if I could, I'd bring you all the way to Portland to organize my office, because I like mine to look like what I see over your shoulder. And, you know, lastly, Joel, and one of the things I got out of this meeting today was how to pronounce Joel. Thank you for guiding me, my guides. So his adventures of traveling to Toronto and Mexico and being an area advisor, I didn't even know such a thing existed, regional advisor, excuse me, and being inspired by his mentor, Richard Wolff, has reminded me how much I miss one of my mentors, Chick Miller, and how grateful I am to Tina, who has also been a mentor to me, and my brother from another mother, AJ, her husband. With that, I'm back to you, Catherine.
Thanks,
Tammy,
John. Oh, I'm sorry, Jean. Your turn.
I'm sorry, me?
Yep.
Okay. Well, once again, I am just thrilled to be here. I really enjoyed seeing, you know, old friends again, old Toastmasters, and this is what an excellent platform to do this. Over the years, I have tried to follow basically 3 simple rules. I'm not going to say they're the best, but that's what I try to follow. I always tell people about when it comes to Toastmasters, the best product in the world, the best idea, or want people to do so much, but if you cannot communicate that, you have nothing. That's what Toastmasters fills the void. Come see, come listen, come participate, and you'll see that we will train you in all of that. The other thing is, I want to say that I was very successful in 82, 83 with a presidential distinguished district as district governor, again in 2001, 2003, and leadership was so important. But the most important thing really was the building of teamwork. Teamwork is what did it. It's the team that did it. It's not me or one person did it. The teamwork. And there's 2 words I've always used as much as possible to help with that teamwork. No matter what or how big they did or how little it did, my closing remarks always said, thank you. Thank you for what you did. And I thank you.
Thanks, Jean. Teamwork makes the dream work, says I could say it this time. It is hard. Yay. Glenn, your turn.
Thank you very much, Cammie. You know, what's really interesting is this is probably my 3rd or 4th panel that I've been on this year, and it's become my favorite platform because of this reason, because we get an opportunity to do a little bit of talking about a certain topic. But Jean is exactly right. You know, what's really interesting for me tonight, Joel, Jean, and myself have interaction. I don't know if Jean was actually one of the 3, but I believe he was. And around 1975, 1976, or 77, there were 3 gentlemen that came from New Orleans. One of them was a referee, and I believe Jean was one of them. So he came to my meeting when I was a college student in that Toastmasters club. It was a corporate club. Joel's dad apparently worked at one of the companies that we were a conglomerate, but we were the administrative arm of a large number of companies for a 5-state area. Joel, and I was telling him that we had a great softball team. It was an executive softball team. And he said, what position do you play? I said, I play catcher. And Joel says, do you remember 2 little black kids running around while y'all were playing? I said, Joel, that's 76 or 70. He said, no, I don't remember that. And he goes, that was me and my brother. I watched you play softball. Is that crazy? And listen, don't leave out Loren, because to be honest with you, I've already been to Chaska, Minnesota in 1984 for a school. So at least I went to Minnesota. So the whole point of it is now you have contact with people, and the panel discussions I find are tremendous. And by the way, John, if you want to know how to do this behind me, all you have to do is be totally and completely disorganized and throw them up on bookcases. It comes out great. And the thing is the one thing that's really important is remembering all of the relationships that you have in Toastmasters. The very first professional person I ever saw speak at a Toastmasters meeting that I joined 5 years ago was Tina. And she impressed me so much. I can still remember the first time that I saw her and thinking about, there is no way that I could ever do what this lady is doing. She was so professional and so on point. And it's those kinds of experiences that can get you to the higher level if you listen, if you'll learn and do. And by the way, thank God Joel is not here, because I'm going to talk good about him. Joel is one of the most focused human beings you will ever meet in your entire life, period. I'm quite the opposite. I'm like the puppy in a hubcap factory. I'm always looking for the next shiny object, and they're all over the place. But Joel goes straight through and goes straight to he knows exactly where he's going and what he needs to do to get there. I'm not that way. He has taught me a tremendous amount about being more focused, and I'm so grateful. And that's the one thing about Toastmasters. If there was one word to me that encapsulates Toastmasters, it's grateful. Just grateful for everything that I've experienced in Toastmasters. And it has been my absolute pleasure to be with all of you tonight. I know most all of you. And now John Deere, that doesn't spell it properly because he forgets the E at the end of his Deere, it's just another opportunity to have one more relationship. And you can always have room for one more relationship. Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you, Glenn. Well said.
Yes.
Great transition. I'm gonna give it to Laura now. Lauren.
Thanks, Cammie. I think that this meeting and the panel tonight brought forth to me the answer to one of those questions, that 50% thing. If only 50% of the Toastmasters were the ones involved and had the fire in them and the passion that I think this group has, this is proof of why, even if it's 50% of all the people in the world that were Toastmasters, the 50% have the passion and the fire, and that's what how do they call it? A wildfire, how it catches on and keeps on going. And that's what I see. And I think that that's what brings a kind of a joy and fulfillment to me. And the last thing I have to say is if there's a way that we could do another thing that was brought up here tonight, it made me think of an art class I went to. And we were learning how to draw. And the first thing that the art teacher had us do was draw a picture of the person sitting across from us. And at the end of the course, after she trained us to really draw, they showed that picture compared to what we learned how to do. So if we could do that in Toastmasters, like someone said, the woman that couldn't speak and then she was out there with the megaphone in a crowd, if we had a way of capturing that to be able to show, I think that would be a real marketing tool for Toastmasters.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah. Well said. Now I'm gonna give it Katherine to finish off and then finish the meeting.
Okay. Thank you guys. Those were great comments. I think it's interesting, some of the things Glenn said and some of the things Loren said about it. I don't like the word inspired because I think people use it wrong a lot. It bothers me when somebody says that I'm inspirational because I got up in the morning. That's not inspirational. Like, I just really need to get out of bed, right? That's not inspirational at all. But if they're inspired by me because of something I did, like my speech or my art or, whatever that is, that's okay. And it's funny because people ask me what I'm inspired by when I do my art. And it's this. It's always watching other people do it and do it well. And, and thinking, ooh, maybe I can get there one day. Or, ooh, I could piggyback on that. Or I could do a speech like that or do a painting like that, but my way. And then it gets you excited about it all over again. So I agree that panel discussions like this, I mean, we're 10 minutes late and none of us really seem to care. So, I mean, obviously panel discussions like this are enjoyable and should be done more often. So again, thank you to all of our panelists. We appreciate